Next up here we have some of my Italian horror movies on DVD. The Anchor Bay releases, and this is one of my favorite Anchor Bay releases I have, and one of my favorite DVDs in my whole collection. And this is the 3-disc limited edition release of Suspiria. And again, I recently picked this up probably like a month ago or so, and this is just one of my favorite DVDs I own. I was so glad to get this finally. Comes with the movie on disc 1, a huge chunk of inserts and booklets. And then disc 2 is special features, and disc 3 is actually the soundtrack, which this is one of my favorite horror movie soundtracks ever. And I actually used a sample from the soundtrack for the intro for this video, so just a quick taste of the awesomeness of Goblin and Suspiria. And I also have the 1-disc release, which is the same as the first disc of the box set. It has the same artwork and the same insert, even though the box set comes with I think it comes with about 12 inserts. It comes with a booklet and then like 10 or 11 little insert replica things. So the box set is just great, but it's extremely rare and out of print now, so this is a little bit cheaper to come across the 1-disc release. I also have Inferno by Argento, which this was, I guess, a sequel in some sense to Suspiria. And this is actually one of my favorite Argento movies. Really good. Inside of that one. And then Phenomena, which is another great Argento movie. I just love most of his mid to late 70s and 80s movies. He basically every single one I think is good. Phenomena. Really nice artwork on this. This has Donald Pleasence in it, who is known for being in the Halloween series. The inside of this, an awesome replica of the poster right there. And this here is actually probably my second favorite Argento movie, my first being Suspiria. And this is Opera, and I just love this. I just think this is a really awesome horror movie. Just shows really what Argento does best. If you've never seen this one and you love Suspiria, definitely check this out. Alright, next I have a couple of the Dario Argento limited edition sets that they put out. This is the second one. I'm actually only missing the first. This one comes with Demons and Demons 2, which is kind of weird because he didn't direct those movies, he just produced them. But they have the Argento stamp of approval, so these are really good. And I was gonna say, if you've never really seen any Italian horror movies and you're just getting into them or whatever, these ones are pretty good to go with because they have like a lot of American rock and roll music in it, and it also they just have that like more American vibe. You can tell that the creators are trying to make them so they can release them like internationally or whatnot. So these are really fun, really good movies. I would put these up there with some of the best 80s horror movies, like really fun ones, with that like Return of the Living Dead vibe to them. And the Demons movies are really good. And then this is another 2-pack, and this has Tenebrae, or Tenebrae. I always pronounce that wrong. I've been told a couple times how to say it right, but I don't even remember anymore, so I could be saying it wrong, I could be saying it right. And then Deep Red, which is one of his earlier giallo movies. I actually really like Deep Red. Tenebrae, I'm a little iffy about. I think it's one of his weirder films, but it's one of his classics. Anyways, it's still a really cool movie to watch. But these 2-packs are also really expensive now and hard to come by, and they're pretty cool. They basically just take the discs and the inserts from the single editions and just slam them all together, so I think that's cool too. And then right here is Lucio Fulci Zombie, which I love the cover art on this, and this is one of the Anchor Bay DVDs that When I first started to collect Anchor Bays and first really started collecting horror movies, this was at the top of my list. And it took me years to finally get around to getting it. And, after seeing it and having this on DVD for a while, the movie itself is nothing to really brag about. It's somewhat of an Italian sequel to Dawn of the Dead, the European cut of Dawn of the Dead. This is like a sequel to that in a sense, but really there's not too much connection. It's just kind of more like a voodoo zombie movie, and it's cool for that reason. I would say it's probably one of the better voodoo zombie movies I've ever seen, but it just has a really dirty, gritty vibe to it. Everything's really muddy and wet and like nasty in this movie, but it's really cool. And there's the famous scene in this movie where there's like a zombie fighting the shark, which is awesome. And so this is just a fun movie to watch. Zombie, also known as Zombie 2. And then some more Lucio Fulci right here. This is the Beyond, and there's also an Anchor Bay 10 of this, so eventually I want to try to pick that up. But this is a really nice edition of this. Came in this clear case. Got the insert and the cool disc and everything, and again, I think this is a really nice edition. This movie is a very weird movie. Has a lot of like gore, just what you expect from the Italian horror movies. I would recommend this one though. Then this is The House by the Cemetery, which this is also a really good one too, and kind of like a haunted housey monster in the basement type story. So I've always really liked this one. There's a little kid in this movie though who is really annoying, but I don't think it's the kid's fault, because it's an actor, and a little kid actor that I see in a lot of these Italian horror movies, some of the Argento ones too. I think it's the person who dubbed his voice. It was just very annoying, and I would say it somewhat ruins parts of the movie, but other than that, it is a really good Lucio Fulci film. House by the Cemetery. And then here, last for my Lucio Fulci stuff, I have this 2-pack, which is also extremely rare and out of print now. I've seen this going for a lot on eBay and Amazon, so glad to have this, even though the films on this, I would say, are not some of my favorites. I actually don't really remember Manhattan Baby too much, but New York Ripper, from what I remember, was like kind of a real nasty movie. I just remember not really enjoying watching it. And usually when it comes to horror movies, I can find something in them to like or something to follow, but I just thought it was kind of a disgusting movie and just weird, but I'd probably watch it again anyways. But it's a nice little set anyways. Glad to have it. Alright, and down here I have the Wicker Man theatrical cut, and I've never been the biggest fan of this movie. I bought it mostly because Christopher Lee's in it, and Christopher Lee's the man. But I wish I had the director's cut or extended edition of this. I used to years ago, but now all I have is this like real, I would say almost like a cheap release of the theatrical cut of the movie. And this movie's been remade, and I've seen the remake too, and I would have to say the original is better, even though I'm not really that big of a fan of the original either. Alright, next up here is Alice, Sweet Alice, which this is awesome. This is another one of the Anchor Bays that I've been wanting forever, so I was really glad to finally pick this one up. And this is just a cool slasher movie too. It actually had been a while since I had seen this, because the last time I saw it was like 5-6 years ago. But this is really cool, very giallo-esque for the Italian Argento fans. This is a really good one to watch. Some cool inserts in here. Just one cool booklet thing. And the disc art I think is nice too. I actually really like the artwork on this. A movie poster I like a lot too, but for some reason I like the choice they went with for the cover. And I got Phantasm. This is the one of the newer releases, or I think the last release Anchor Bay put out on DVD. This is really nice. It's loaded with special features and just altogether, just a really nice looking edition of the movie. It's in like a clear case with like a slip cover. Just a really nice Anchor Bay edition. And I have Phantasm 3 on DVD from Anchor Bay. And I've never seen this yet. I still haven't seen any of the Phantasm sequels, but I'm looking forward to watching them eventually. And I have this 2-pack that has 2 Lamberto Bava movies, and Lamberto Bava is the son of Mario Bava. Both of them are Italian horror movie directors. And these movies are actually pretty good. I really like A Blade in the Dark. I would put that right up there with some of the Argento giallos. I think it's really good. And the Macabre is also good, but I would say that one's a little bit weirder too, kind of fetishy. I would say some of these, that's the problem I have with the New York Ripper. Some of these Italian horror movies have some like odd, like fetishy stuff going on in them, and it distracts me away from the story and everything. So. But other than that, I would definitely say check out Blade in the Dark. Really good. Alright. And then I have right here Maniac, which is a really cool slasher movie from the 80s. This has Tom Savini doing the effects, and he also plays a small role in this. And he's just a great special effects artist. I'm sure everybody watching this know who he is, and this has some good special features on it, and this is just a really weird slasher movie, but at the same time I think it's really good, and I think it tells the story of a serial killer in a very unique way. And it's also cool. I love the ending for this movie too, just very cool also. I got Sleepaway Camp, which is an awesome 80s slasher movie, again with a crazy twist at the end, which I won't ruin for anybody. And I've always liked this. I've always thought it was a pretty decent out of the 80s slasher movies. Sleepaway Camp. I actually wish mine came with the insert, which is always sad when you get an Anchor Bay edition without the insert, but it's that chance you gotta take sometimes. Alright, and then I got House on DVD, which this is out of print and rare now. Like I've said before, most of these are, but some are just a little bit more expensive than others. And this one, for example, does seem to go for like a good $40-50. Really nice insert on this, and this is a pretty good movie. I've actually only seen this once, and I would say it was a really weird movie, but at the same time I thought it was good. And then I have this cool Hellraiser 2-pack with the first 2 Hellraiser movies, which are my 2 favorites in the series. And this has some like a little bit of special features on it too. And basically they just took the 1-disc editions and slapped them together in a set, which I always think is nice. But I wouldn't mind getting both of these separate Anchor Bay editions one of these days. Alright, so next up here we have Bad Taste. And this is actually one of the rarer editions of Bad Taste because it has the middle finger cover, and this was re-released without that, where he's doing the like 2 or the peace sign, whatever it is. I'm not even sure. But this I've always just loved, and this is the edition that I've always wanted to get, of course, because it's the harder to find one. So this is a really weird movie. Peter Jackson's early movies are very bloody, very weird, just in general. So, you know, if you've never seen a Peter Jackson's one of his earlier movies, I would say this is probably my favorite, even though a lot of people would say Dead Alive is probably his best. But for some reason, I've always liked Bad Taste a little bit more. Oh, and that's like the middle finger thing, like how they switched it on the front right there, like how they have it on the disc. But this comes with a cool insert too. Just a weird movie. And then I have Night of the Demons, which is a really fun movie that takes place on Halloween. It takes place at a Halloween party, and it's just really cool. I think it's one of the coolest 80s horror movies. Night of the Demons. I got Manhunter, which this is my favorite Hannibal Lecter movie ever made. I think this is a really awesome movie. This is from the 80s. And everything about this, I just think is fantastic. The serial killer in this, the guy who plays the cop guy, I think does a really good job. And then you got Hannibal Lecter's character. And if you've seen the movie like Red Dragon or one of the newer Hannibal Lecter movies, you've seen, like, you basically know what the plot of this movie is. But I think this is actually better. I just think it's a really good movie right here. Highly recommend Manhunter. This is a cool 2-pack I have with Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark, and Transylvania 65000, which I bought this just for the Elvira movie because Elvira is just awesome. And around Halloween time, I mean, she is just the best. You know, she hosts a show and does everything else. So, always just been. If you're a fan of horror movies, I think you have to be a fan of Elvira. But you know, it's got a cool insert there, and just a nice little Anchor Bay 2-pack. Then I have the Children of the Corn. This is the special edition release, 25th anniversary, and this is a really good movie too. I'm sure most people have seen this. This is one of the more popular titles, I guess, released from Anchor Bay, based on a Stephen King story. Comes with a couple really nice, like a nice booklet and an insert. And just really good. I would recommend this movie, and I think this is one of the best DVD releases of it. Then again, this is one of my DVDs that's a little bit more expensive in my Anchor Bay collection, the Silent Night, Deadly Night 2-pack. This is the original Anchor Bay release of this, and this is extremely out of print now, of course, and goes for a lot of money, brand new. So I'm glad to find it. I'm glad to have this. I actually found this at a pawn shop. Got it for like $1 or $2, so just one of those awesome pawn shop finds. Comes with a really nice booklet, actually. And sorry if there's been a glare on these DVDs throughout this video. I actually can't really see what I'm filming right now because I have the camera pointing at the shelf, so I'm not sure if there's a glare or not. From what it looks like I'm filming, there's not, but if there is, I'm sorry about that. And then this is the last Anchor Bay I have right over here in this shelf. And this is for Highlander, which is not a horror movie, but Highlander is a really great, fun movie if you've never seen it. I would say it's one of the best science fiction movies, and I was always under the interpretation that this movie was too, like, nerdy for me. And this movie is really, like, a badass movie. The main villain in this movie, like the Kurgan, or whatever his name is, it's been a while since I've seen this, so I could be saying that wrong. It's just, I think, one of the best villains in movie history. Definitely one of the best movies in science fiction history. One of the best villains in science fiction history. So Highlander, would highly recommend.